We are really challenged with how do we really model the behavior of Christ?
Yes.
How do we look after the poor? How do we see the Samaritan, the good? How do we become the Good Samaritan, or like the Good Samaritan that see the man that's on the street that needs help? How do we feed the poor and the hungry? How do we show up in these places rather than pour into wealth? And I think if we really take a look back at what Christianity taught us over the last few decades, and we look at the opulence of, some of the some of the pastoral leadership that is the exception and not the norm. And, people see pastors in a certain light and they think, oh my God, they're living off of the wealth of the Lord has really blessed them, name it and claim it, And so we've really done a disservice to what ministry is really about and our focus as the church. And so rather than seeing the help, the food pantries, the showing up, the nurturing of children, we see the golden calves. We see the bowing down of golden calves. We see those things as what it is to be an example of a Christian, because people who are not Christians see that, and then they see other Christians that are, buying into this message of name it and claim it, or what have you, or the message that isn't the Christ message. It's not a real example of what Christ was like, and so we're really challenged with that. As you asked that question earlier, Jen, I thought about Niemöller's quote, and I just wanted to say, I wanted to read it because I think it's very imperative that we think about this in the church and what's happening in our nation and in our world. And he said, first they came for the communists, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a socialist. And then they came for the trade unionists. I didn't speak out because I wasn't a trade unionist. And then they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak out because I was a Jew. And then they came for me, and there was nobody to speak for me. So what are we doing in the church to speak up in this day and time, to make a difference in our nation, to say, hey, wait, you can't take away people's authority and their autonomy and their agency and their vote. Yeah. What is the church saying about this? We can't be silent week after week and just say, we're praying, we're, gun rights. Yes, that's a very... I'm living in Texas. It's a very real thing here, right? It's a very real thing here. But it doesn't give me the right to kill and murder my friend, my neighbor, children in school. We must have more legislation around that so that we are a safer and smarter nation, more responsible. And so what do we say as the church? When do we speak up? And how do we speak up and make our voices heard, but not just talking to the wind, but talking in places and spaces that make legislation possible?
Right.